Hello, and welcome to another episode of Ask Cheeky. I'm Elliot Breck with the Cheeky Scientist, and today's question comes from Daria Hirado, and they ask, will my PhD background limit which jobs I can get into? The short answer to this is no, and I'll go into a little bit more details as to why this is, because as PhDs, we get so focused on our niche area, what we've done our dissertation on, all of these years of research that we've gone into, that we sort of get lost in the forest as we focus on the specific tree that is our research area, that you don't think about all of the additional skills and transferable skills and other technical skills and how these can actually translate over to basically any industry position you can get. My personal experience was also like this. I thought that because I was focused on auditory neuroscience, that's the field and area that I needed to go into, that I was limited to just this niche area, niche within a niche. And realized after joining CSA that I had so many additional skills that I had leveraged while getting my PhD, and that I could translate these into so many other different areas. And it's not really just about taking these skills and leveraging them into other areas, but initially finding out what it is that drives you, where your passion is. So personally, I realized that I had a lot more of leadership skills. I was doing a lot of training of other RAs, teaching other PhD students how to run the assays, doing a lot of presentations on my research, giving talks and poster presentations, actually doing a lot of data scrubbing of all these, the information and all the data that was being collected in, and then taking this and portraying it out, teaching other people how to do these as well. The thing is you've gained so many of these additional skills and you forget about them as you're going and just focused on that final outcome product of what your dissertation is. Because as a PhD, this is the end goal. That's what you're focused on, is what is it that I'm doing and accomplishing with my PhD? You forget about all these additional skills and things that you've learned along the way. You also forget that there's other things that you've done in your outside career as well. If you've started a family, there's a lot of bargaining that you're having to do, between you and your children, making sure that they're going to bed on time, brushing their teeth properly. You're working with, unruly subordinates, that you can take this to be a team leader where you can work with all types of people. Anyone you're working with in industry is going to probably be a lot easier to convince to do a task than it is to convince your child to go to bed or put their shoes on. These are sort of skills that you can actually utilize and put into your resume. Talk about when you're interviewing. You don't think about these in terms of where your skills can lie, because they're not what your dissertation is. But like I said, you have so many additional skills in these areas. And this is where you really need to start going over and realizing that you're not going to be limited by just what your PhD is. You've gained all of these additional skills by doing these things, doing some of that data scrubbing, writing, going over and doing project management. What area actually drives you? Where do you want to go? You're not limited by your PhD background. You're limited by your imagination and what drives you. You don't want to go into another bench role if you hate being at the bench. You don't want to go into a writing role if you hate writing. So you need to decide what it is that is your passion and what you want to leverage as the skills that you gain, because again, you've gained so many skills. You've gained all of that, leadership skill, all of that writing skills, all of that management skills, all of the, doing all of these things, all of these projects, because your dissertation probably was made up of multiple different projects, was probably made up of multiple different aspects that you led to the final outcome. So each of these different things has different components to it that you just need to decide on which of these and how you want to leverage them to go over and get you to the ultimate goal of what you want for your career. You're not limited by that background again. You're only limited by your imagination. Again, are you doing this, the volunteer work? Are you leading a soup kitchen? Are you managing people and the budgets of like where you're getting in, the products that are coming in that are then being, made into food meals by people, working through the cleanliness and the process of, getting these items and then actually serving them to an outward person. You've gone over and done an entire project management in that avenue. Have you done some data scrubbing of whatever you clean so that you can then put it outward to someone who doesn't necessarily understand how that data is collected, because no one's going to understand it better than you. You've done some data science, some data analytics. Did you write up your dissertation? Did you enjoy doing that? So you've done some writing. You could be a medical writer. Did you go over and enjoy giving talks and presentations for your posters and your data? You could go into something like a regulatory affairs or application scientist or a medical science liaison. There's so many different areas that are available to you. So there's so much that it's just really limitless. You are not limited by your PhD background. So just remember that you have so much value that you gain by doing this research. So I hope you can take something away from that. And this is going to take us to the end of this Ask Cheeky. So I want you to head over to phdsgethired.com to learn more about our flagship program that gets PhDs hired, the Cheeky Scientists Association. And as always, people, please remember your value as a PhD and keep thinking and acting like an industry professional. Bye for now.